Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a kind of jarring reality that affects literally everyone with a smartphone. What you watch is making you broke. We usually think of our finances strictly in terms of, spreadsheets and salaries. But today, we're exposing the silent, invisible forces in your daily feed that are actually dictating your wealth.
So I've got to ask you point blank, is your feed keeping you poor? Think about it for a sec. Are your daily media consumption habits and that deep underlying urge to look successful the real reasons you feel broke even though you're working incredibly hard? We're just constantly bombarded with images of success, luxury, and instant gratification. And it really begs the question, right? Are we programming ourselves to fail financially just by opening our apps and scrolling?
Because the core issue here is actually pretty simple, as this quote hits the nail on the head. Consuming financial noise hurts results. It's an undeniable equation. Bad inputs create bad financial decisions. If you're constantly consuming financial noise, like flashy lifestyles, unrealistic status symbols, or people flexing depreciating assets, well, your brain starts to accept that as the baseline reality. You are what you consume. And if you're consuming a diet of manufactured wealth, your actual real-world wealth is absolutely going to suffer. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, the content wealth trap, and how your feed is literally programming your habits. You might think you're in complete conscious control of every dollar you spend, but your environment, it's incredibly persuasive. The harsh truth is that your feed predicts your future. The flashy social media-driven lifestyle we see online every single day sets a highly toxic default for what success should look like. It basically creates a completely manufactured reality. If your feed is just packed with luxury cars, designer clothes, and exotic vacations, your brain starts to believe that this is normal. And when your reality doesn't match that feed, you end up spending money you don't actually have just to bridge the gap and feel adequate. Which brings us to section 2, high income is an illusion, and why a bigger salary doesn't automatically mean wealth. Now, you might be thinking, hey, I just need to make more money, right? But as your salary rises steadily over time, your real wealth often stays completely flat. Why? Because a higher income often creates this fake sense of security. You're working hard, you're getting raises, you're climbing the corporate ladder, but as your income goes up, your spending immediately follows right behind it. This is a super dangerous, exhausting cycle known as the income illusion. You think you're getting richer because your paycheck is bigger, but your actual net worth isn't moving an inch. So here's a massive pattern interrupt for you. Earning more money might actually be the exact thing keeping you broke. I know, no way, right? It sounds totally counterintuitive. But think about the psychology behind it for a second. If every single time you get a raise, you immediately upgrade to a better car, or you move into a larger home, or you start buying premium brands, you are just expanding your liabilities. You aren't expanding your wealth. You're just upgrading your lifestyle to match your new income, which leaves you in the exact same precarious financial position as before, just with shinier, more expensive things to maintain. You know, like that jet ski you bought but only use exactly once a year? And that perfectly leads us into section 3, the high cost of comparison and the real price of social validation. When we see someone else's carefully curated highlight reel, it's just human nature to measure our own messy, behind-the-scenes reality against it. But man, that unfair comparison is costing you a fortune. There are 3 hidden psychological traps that keep everyday scrollers broke. Number 1, lifestyle inflation. Like we just talked about, earning more automatically triggers spending more. Number 2, social comparison, buying status to impress others. You are literally spending what you lack to look like you have it. And number 3, instant gratification, choosing comfort right now over future growth. These 3 mental traps force you to sacrifice your future financial freedom for just a fleeting moment of social validation today. Every single day, we face a choice between 2 completely different mentalities. On one side, you've got the consumer mindset. This is entirely focused on buying status, constantly inflating your lifestyle, and acquiring depreciating luxury goods. It's loud, it's flashy, and frankly, it's a fast track to staying broke. Contrast that with the owner mindset. This is all about mastering the art of delayed gratification to build silent, resilient wealth by buying assets. The consumer wants to look rich today to impress strangers, but the owner wants to actually be wealthy tomorrow, securing their own independence. Okay, moving on to section 4, becoming the invisible rich. Let's talk about the reality of silent wealth. So how do we actually fix this whole mess? By building what we call invisible wealth. This is defined as unspent cash and silent, productive assets. It is absolutely not flashy status displays and liabilities. Real wealth isn't the depreciating luxury car that loses, 20% of its value the second you drive it off the lot. Real wealth is the boring assets you cannot see. The index funds compounding in the background, the real estate properties, the equity in a business. It's quiet and it happens completely away from the camera and the social media feeds. I really want you to remember this core truth. Looking rich keeps you broke. It's that simple. True wealth remains completely silent. Spending your hard-earned cash just for social validation actively sacrifices your future financial freedom. The people who are truly wealthy, they aren't trying to prove it to strangers on the internet. They're way too busy quietly compounding their assets and buying back their time. All right, let's get into the solutions in Section 5. Reclaim your financial future with some highly actionable micro steps. Okay, let's talk about how you can actually implement this in your own life and systematically build your wealth today. The crucial starting point here is a remarkably simple number, 48. This is the 48-hour rule for non-essential purchases. If you see something you want to buy, something that isn't an absolute bare-bones survival necessity, you force yourself to wait exactly 2 days, 48 hours. What happens is the emotional high of the impulse purchase fades, and your logical brain finally returns. By day 2, you almost always realize you don't actually need it, and boom, you've just saved yourself from another emotional micro-loss. Next up, let's look at the lazy, and I mean that in the best way possible, automated way to guarantee you build wealth. Because let's be totally honest, human willpower is a highly unreliable resource. It eventually fails all of us, especially when we're stressed out. But financial systems, they run forever. Step 1, pay your investments first. Do not wait around to see what's left at the end of the month. Step 2, automate your deposits. Set up the architecture so that your money moves into investment accounts before you ever even see it hit your checking account. Step 3, live on the remainder. If you automate your savings first, you can spend whatever is left completely guilt-free because you know your future is already funded. Your final tactical blueprint is the one-page financial plan. This just proves once and for all that managing money does not require massive, complex spreadsheets. It just requires absolute clarity. Step 1, write down your clear goals. Know exactly what you're building towards. Step 2, list your income streams. Step 3, map your exact expenses so you know exactly where the leaks are coming from. And step 4, schedule those automatic investments we just talked about. Keep the whole shebang to one single page. Actually, scratch that. Keep it to half a page if you can. Complexity stops execution and creates paralysis, but simplicity drives consistent daily action. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, pretty provocative question to chew on. Think about everything we've covered today. What will you watch next, and what is it ultimately going to cost you? Every time you open that feed, every time you consume financial noise, you're making a choice that impacts your future wealth. So choose your inputs wisely, focus on building invisible wealth, and take control of your financial destiny. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.